we had some unfortunateness with this car. It's a 2007 Mazda 3. Belongs to my daughter. And her and my wife were out driving around. And they broke down. So, get the key for you. So what happened was, they were driving down the highway, and then they called me and said that the coolant temperature gauge dropped down to cold, and it wasn't up on hot, it wasn't in the middle, it was just rock bottom cold. Wow, that's hot. Whoa, yeah, warm. So I said it was just, wow, it's so hot in here I can taste it. I said it was on cold, which is just this little guy over here. It wasn't coming up. Fuel gauge was working. And then they told me that the check engine light came on. So the check engine light came on, and then the power steering malfunction warning light came on, and I guess the oil light came on too. Also, the photo that they had sent me, I said, was this thing running when you took this? And they said, yeah. It was on 0, as though it wasn't running, so it had no RPM signal. So I asked them again if it was running. They said, yeah. So basically what happened was they lost the temperature sensor, they lost the check engine light came on, that little one above it with the steering wheel, that's the parking, or not the parking, but the power steering assist malfunction, and then I guess the oil light came on too, and then the RPM signal dropped out. So they said they were driving along, it kind of started making noise, and they couldn't go over 65, so it started like just slowing down. So they pulled over and they sat there, and I had them check the coolant bottle, and the coolant bottle they said was full. They had stopped a couple times. So once they first told me about the coolant, the hot cold thing, I told them we'll stop and check the coolant because it might be low, or there might be no coolant, which it won't really register if there's no coolant. And it was full. Right now it's not full anymore, so that arises the second question, but it won't start now, and I'll show you what it does. So I try to start it. That's all it does. It's not. So it sounds like the fuel pump's working. So I checked the oil to make sure there was oil in it, and there was. So I gotta wonder. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a compression test to make sure we didn't burn up the cylinders or anything, because the fact that the coolant bottle was now low, because I saw it was full on a FaceTime call, so I could see it was full. It was right up there. It's not a very big bottle, so I don't know, maybe it was low and then it filled up. I don't know, I gotta check that too. But at the moment, my main concern is that we still have compression. I'll deal with the rest as we come. So, I don't know if you could hear it turn over, but it didn't sound like there was very much restriction there. So it just kind of, well, maybe if you heard it, you heard it. It didn't sound like it was, well, I don't know. I haven't really turned this over to listen to it. It didn't really sound that abnormal. There was one little spark that went around that might have been a dead cylinder, but I don't even really think it was, because it didn't stand out to me anyway as a bad cylinder. So I'm gonna do a compression test on this first to verify that I don't have basically a blown engine. So it doesn't exactly make sense to have all those codes at the same time. It's weird. And then to lose the well, looks like some of you been in here before. A little damage down there. I wonder if they hit something like an animal. Anyway, so it doesn't make sense for me for it to lose the coolant gauge, the RPM signal, and all the other warning lights to come on at the same time. So I'm wondering if maybe we just lost the power feed, or something shorted out and we lost our 5.0 reference. I don't have a wiring diagram on hand, so like I say, I'm going to check the compression first. If we still got compression, then I'll go farther with it. If I don't have compression, then I know the engine's junk. So, well, it might not be junk, but for what it's worth, I'll probably just get a used one, and we'll put a used one in. So yeah, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these coils out. It looks like they're all 8. That might be 8mm on there, and then it probably pops right off, and then we'll pull the plugs out. Alright, so first I'm gonna just take these little retainers off that hold the that cover down. I don't have any compressed air to get it out of there. Alright, so let's pull these plugs off. Well, that's number 1, that's number 2. That's 4. Alright. So, kind of got some of this stuff out of here. This one is in there. There we go. That one was on there pretty good. A little oil in the boot. Oh, got a little melted, I'm guessing. Alright, so let's take some of these out. Oh, it's 5/8. It's nice to know that everything I read online Everybody was saying they were, well, I mean, I didn't look that hard. I just Googled size, and it's one that said 9/16, and then I looked into some forum things, and people were saying that they were 14. But, I don't know. This is 5/8, so. Ah. Come on. Wow, that's a huge gap. All right. That's quite the spark plug. Let's see what we got. Looks like it's going to be our first size. All right. Now I know you're supposed to take all the spark plugs out, but I don't think we're going to be that specific about this. What do we got? Well, that ain't good. So, let's try the next one. I have to say it doesn't surprise me if this engine's bad, because it smells like something's wrong with it. It's got that burnt smell to it. So something burnt up. So I'm guessing that guy ain't good either. You ain't really supposed to have that much oil around a spark plug. I think that was actually in the hole. I don't think that came out around the boot. There's a number 2, and you don't have any oil there, so that all came from in the cylinder. I don't even think I need to check that one. I should grab a spark plug socket. Oh, yeah. Oil on that guy, too. So I don't know what would have done all this damage. Well, maybe it was just... No, they might have just been oil sitting in the hole there. There ain't any in that one. There was a little bit in there. Yeah, maybe it just, there might have just been an oil leak and maybe it just puddled up in there. Because it is around the spark plug, so it might not be that big of an issue. Alright, so I redid number one. Number one, we are at 40 PSI, which is not enough. Well, that's a first. We are at 40. Alright, crank it. Number two, we are at 15. Okay, crank it. 3, we got 20. Oh, I never took that plug out. You know, honestly, I don't think that matters. I'm not gonna bother taking it out. So, let's another question would be, is it a timing chain issue? Crank it. Cam turns. So yeah, we got that problem. So what I'll do, these were terrible, so I'll do a leak down test and see if we can see where we're losing our compression, because that's definitely not enough. Alright, so let's see where this is leaking from. Hopefully I'm on a closed cylinder. It's supposed to be coming out of there. So that's what do we got? 100. We got 80% leakage here. Is that the only place it's leaking? So yeah. So we're leaking between cylinders, and we are leaking into the coolant. So definitely got a bad head gasket. Well, so now I gotta wonder why the head gasket blew like that, because that had stopped working and this was full, unless the head gasket just blew. Or when the what was it, when the coolant pressure gauge or the coolant temperature gauge was down at cold, this bottle was still full, because that's when I asked them to stop and look and see if the bottle was full, and it was full then. So that's not really like an expansion bottle, it's part of the system. It's where you fill it from. So makes me wonder why the head gasket did that. I mean, obviously you overheat is why a head gasket would blow, but just kind of wonder if there was something else involved with it. I checked the oil. The oil doesn't seem... I mean, there was oil in it, so it didn't have an oil. I mean, I guess you could add oil pump failure, but... would oil pump failure cause a head gasket? I don't know, but... I do know that we'll have to look at some options. What's a better direction to go? I don't want to pull the head off. I mean, you see there is basically... I mean, personally, I've never seen a head gasket go to the point where the car didn't run and you had basically zero compression like that. I mean, it wasn't zero. You saw it was like 30, 15, and whatever it was. It wasn't very much. I don't even know if this is on the compression stroke. Maybe it'll hold more if it was on the compression stroke. I mean, judging by the compression numbers, there's definitely something pretty wrong, and that would kind of make sense having such a high leakage rate, being we only got like 30 pounds of pressure out of that, or 15, 20, whatever it was, out of that cylinder. It wasn't very much, so definitely got a problem. Anyway, I'm gonna look into seeing what we're gonna do about this. We're gonna fix it, because I think so. Pretty sure I'll fix it. Right now it's not really worth much, just sitting here with a bad engine. Needs to put a new engine in it, it'll be worth something. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching.